like it. Hey folks, it's Rick. I'm here with my Eastman T386, and I'm going to do a proper review since I've had it for a couple of days. Eastman T386 RD. Not a fair comparison because I bought it used with aftermarket pickups installed. These are Lawler Imperial standard wind, I believe, or regular wind. It's the medium wind. They're basically a good PAF. It's funny, I didn't know what a PAF pickup was maybe like 3-4 years ago. Now I know. I just thought they were humbuckers and they sounded good. Okay, so this is the beast. I'm going to turn off the drive. Now all we have is playing through the Princeton Reverb Custom 68 reissue one, and that's stock right now. Okay, so ES335s come in all different price points, right? You've got the Ibanez, what is it? AS73, I think. And the Epiphone Dot. And those are all pretty inexpensive. And then you get up into the Epiphone 335 Pro. And that's a little more expensive, but still very, very affordable. And then Gretsch starts making some, the Streamliners. Then you might get up to the Epiphone Sheraton 2s, and the Ibanez ones get a little bit better. And this is all, at this point, if you're willing to go used, you can get all this stuff sub $500. After $500, between a $500 and $1,000 is where it gets a little bit more difficult, in my experience, trying to find one of these. There weren't that many options nearby in Pittsburgh, and I think you should go play one of these, because it's not. I don't mind buying guitars in the mail, PRSs, because they tend to come out the same all the time. They tend to come out pretty good. I guess if you're getting an SE, you could get a bum one. Probably if you're getting a S2, you could find a bad one. But most of them are going to be really good. And also, the PRS is going to stand by their work, all that kind of stuff. And so, if you're a person who likes New Guitar Day in the mail is a lot of fun. Unless the guitar sucks. Then you're trying to convince yourself and everybody else that you like it when you really don't. Not the case with this guitar. So I did go to a store and buy this, and I told the story on a different video. I think that the Eastmans are great for the price. They're great instruments, period. They're handmade in their own factory in China, but they're handmade. And here's the thing that I will say. I've had ES335 for a long time. I bought it in 2000 or 2001, and I kept it until this past year. No, I sold it at the end of 2017. That's when I sold it. And it was a fine guitar. It was just hard to play because, as I've said before, the frets were too low. But it had a specific feel. And this guitar has that exact same feel. It's the feeling of, and I hold my guitar up pretty high, admittedly, but it's a really comfortable, like, resting your arm. The strings and pickups are just very close, and it's a shorter scale. Everything feels right there to me, and I can't play a guitar that's too far down or too far away. It's interesting, and it's funny too, because then you have this big old boat hanging off the end of it. And this one actually isn't the same size as a 335. This is 16 inches instead of 16 and a half. I know, big difference, right? So that is the thing. This is easy to play. This is like butter, you know. Took it to church today and played it. And it's kind of effortless. Bar chords are always hard for me on anything more than a 10-inch radius, but I can live with it here. When I say bar chords, I don't just mean these. I mean these too. Or these. Those are important because you gotta get all those notes. Made the comment, boy, that's a shiny fretboard. And it really is. I'm not really in a lot of light right now, but I am. You can see it's ebony. They've got some kind of finish on it. It's really quite beautiful, and it feels good. Close your eyes and pretend that it's maple. Oh, sounds like ebony to me. 2 volumes and 2 tones. I wish I had a little toggle switch. And that little toggle switch, what it would do is it would disable this bridge pickup volume. What the hell? Let's disable both of these and just have master, right? I wish I could do that because I wish that I could pick the time when I want to have separates and when I don't. Because right now it's really throwing me. I've been playing Stratocasters and Telecasters and Paul Reed Smiths with 2 knobs for a long time now. And I understand how cool it is to have separate volume controls. I get it. Especially with the middle position. You know, the middle position. These knobs are really nice. They feel good and solid, and they're not too hard to turn. I like that. Even though I wish they were speed knobs. Maybe I'll put speed knobs on it. Tuning's been an issue at first, and I'll tell you why. This nut wasn't cut very well. Well, that's one reason. The nut wasn't cut well at all. I had to cut out the third string slot a little bit more. I just get a little piece of sandpaper and fold it in half and go, and then I put the string back in with a little bit of this stuff. This isn't drugs, kids. Look, this is Big Ben's nut sauce, and I just stick it in there. But the fourth string was actually getting the creak, you know, and I was like, come on. So that tells me that it was really gripping in there. And that was happening at church today, and I was like, oh no, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Oops, there's a pencil right there. So I just took the string off, and I twisted the pencil in there, and it worked really well. That works, putting graphite from a pencil in the slots. But it still needs, I think, to be sanded out a little bit. But still, let's do the test, right? Here's the test if your nut is gripping too hard. Jeez, that sounds terrible. Here's the test if you need to sand the slots. Okay, so we're in tune, right? I'm gonna bend this note. We are still in tune. I'm gonna bend it from this side. We're super sharp now. Pull on this side, and we're a little flat. Push on this side. Now we're back in tune. And that tells me that there's some gripping going on in here, and I'm going to need to sand that out. Anyway, if I had nut files, I would use them, but I don't have them. I know I can get them really easily, but I just don't. So this all sounds really negative so far, but it's not at all. Let's just say that I did not expect this thing to feel and sound just as good as a Gibson. And in my estimation, it does. This neck, traditional even C is what they call this neck. Traditional even C. They're all very positive words. Okay, so initially I played this guitar through my Katana and through my Pathfinder, and I was treating it like a single coil guitar is what I was doing. That's where I went wrong. I was acting like, hey, this should sound exactly as good as my Telecaster does with the same pedal setup and the same amp. And you know what? It just didn't. And so I was fighting it a little bit. It didn't like the Tumnus and it didn't like the Pathfinder. And I was like, what's going on here? And so I decided to bring out the Princeton Reverb, and it likes that. I don't know, this is just the tone that I like, so it might be my ears. That sounds very, very good to me. Play through a Princeton Reverb. Yeah, it sounds great. The bridge pickup, it might need to be lowered a little bit. I think it's a little bit too barky. And if I put drive on them, this is the dude, Rockett Audio. That's the neck. Hear that? A little bit too much bite. I just think it needs to be lowered a little bit. Hey, let's do it right now. I'm going to lower it a hair. Don't be afraid to do this at home, kids. I was afraid to change anything on my guitars for like a couple of years. And then I was like, oh, hell, do it. Also, I started turning the truss rod when I was in my 40s. I was too long to wait. You can do it yourself. That's much better. Let's take the distortion off. You don't like it, Fred. I'm sorry. Those beautiful pickups. When I went to Boston, I played and also here in Pittsburgh, I played a Collings I-35, I think is what it is. A Collings I-35, which is one of these. Semi-hollow. It's the one that you want if you have the money. But you know, you could buy 4 of these for the price of the Collings. But it had these pickups. You know, it had the Lawler Imperials. And that's when I first played them. I went up to Boston, I played one. And the Lawler Imperials were on that too. And I liked it. I was like, that's got to be those pickups. And I did a lot of research on them. They're very expensive. They're like $175 each, these pickups. So my plan in the back of my mind was, okay, find the cheap semi-hollow that feels good and put the Lawler pickups in. You can buy them. You could probably get them used. The guy who owned it before me put them in, so how fantastic is that? Anyway, enough about how lucky I was to get this guitar. Let's turn it over and let's see. But I'm here to tell you that this is a beautiful back. I mean, it's standard, right? Close up. I'm probably going to get a Duesenberg less trem for it. Ha ha ha. Maybe I'll put the one from the Duesenberg on it and see how it feels. Medium jumbo. Oh, what's the name of these frets? Jescar. They're Jescar 47104. Now, I looked that up, and it doesn't tell you anything about whether or not they're stainless steel, because you can choose stainless steel on your Jescar pickups, or you can choose the nickel mixture, nickel steel alloy, whatever. But to me, I like this. It feels, the frets feel very similar to my Telecaster, so I like them a lot. I don't know why they feel that way. Probably because I like the guitar, and so I'm like, it's like my Telecaster. When it's really nothing like my Telecaster. Okay, here's the part that everybody's going to hate, right? Oops, I just smacked it on the desk. Here it is, the headstock. And boy, it's big. And not only is it big, it makes the tuners look weird. Like they're not straight, but they are. Vintage Clouson style. But look how weird they look. What are you doing, Eastman? You didn't have to make it that big. And then the other thing that's weird about it is the string breaking. So this breaks at a different angle than you would expect. It goes inward. Strange, right? And so does this one. The second string goes back pretty straight, and the third string still takes a little bit of an angle, and it looks like it gets hung up on this guy, but it really doesn't. Wait, maybe it does. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It all works really well. I've done all this messing around, and it hasn't got much out of tune. Third string's a little flat. So I haven't played it on a second breakfast gig yet. That is like the last testing ground. But I played it at church today. It was wonderful. I went to a yoga class on Friday night, so I could play it there. So yeah, it's like growing pains, you know, or getting used to it again. Because I'm not used to 4 knobs anymore, and I'm not used to such a big guitar. But let me tell you something, the tone of it is gorgeous. I love it. I love playing a good solo on it, you know, especially with a nice soft drive. Oh, Fred. So we've used Rockett Audio, the Dude, and also the Hermida Love Pedal Dover Drive. I don't think it liked the Nobles very much. No. That sounds beautiful. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. From my cold, dead hands. You want to take this from me? All right. Listen, peace, God bless, love you guys. Everybody hanging out. This is wonderful. And I hope that you buy yourself an Eastman and love it as much as I. No, I just hope that you're having a good day. All right. Later on.